The Galactic Academy Xenobiology class had seen countless species, but none had prepared Professor Zixthar for the chaos that would unfold on what seemed like an ordinary day. Commander Sarah Chen stood before 200 alien students, her presentation hologram displaying Earth's diverse wildlife. The students, representing 47 different species from across the galaxy, sat in their specialized seating arrangements, their various forms of sensory organs focused on the human instructor. And this, Sarah said, projecting an image of a small brown spider, is the Australian funnel web spider, one of Earth's more notable invertebrates. The classroom erupted in what could only be described as laughter. The Krillian students clicked their mandibles in amusement. The gaseous Vexatorians pulsed with colors that indicated hilarity. Even the normally stoic Draknor warriors, 7-foot-tall beings covered in scales that could deflect plasma fire, were making their species equivalent of chuckles. That? Boomed Carthax, the largest Draknor in the class and undefeated champion of the Academy's combat arena. That pathetic little creature. On my homeworld we have the Razor Claw, 10 feet tall with fangs that can pierce starship hull plating. Sarah's expression remained neutral, though a slight smile played at the corner of her lips. Size isn't everything, Carthax. Forgive me. Commander Chen, the Draknor warrior said, his voice dripping with condescension, but that thing looks like it could barely harm a Quelian micromouse. How deadly could something so tiny possibly be? The other students murmured in agreement. To beings who had evolved on death worlds where even the plants could kill, Earth seemed quaint. They had reviewed the planet's specifications: comfortable temperatures, abundant water, a single moon, and gravity so light that most species considered it a low-G resort world. Sarah tapped her datapad. The funnel web spider's venom contains a compound called D-atrachotoxin. For humans without treatment, it can kill in 15 minutes. It causes massive neurotransmitter release leading to everything from muscle spasms to cardiovascular collapse. 15 minutes? Aquilian student's whiskers twitched with amusement. The frost serpent of my world can kill in 15 seconds. I don't doubt it, Sarah replied calmly. But here's what makes Earth interesting. We have approximately 65,000 venomous species. And humans? We live among them, we adapt, we survive. Carthax stood up, his massive form towering over the human. With all due respect, Commander, your species had no natural weapons, no armored hide, no venom of your own. You were prey animals who got lucky and developed primitive technology. Meanwhile, my ancestors were apex predators for 50 million years. The classroom fell silent. Challenging an instructor was bold, even for someone of Carthax's status. Sarah's smile widened. Would you like to test that theory? Professor Zixthar, a being composed of crystalline structures, chimed in with concern. Commander Chen, surely you're not suggesting— I'm suggesting a practical demonstration, Sarah interrupted. Carthax, your species boasts neural systems 3 times faster than humans, skin that can withstand temperatures up to 400 degrees Celsius, and immune systems that can neutralize most toxins within seconds. Correct? Correct, the Draknor said proudly. Then you shouldn't have any problem with a small Earth arachnid. Sarah reached into a specialized containment case she'd brought with her. This is a Sydney funnel web spider, male. The more aggressive sex. I'll place it on your arm for 30 seconds. If you can withstand those 30 seconds without flinching, I'll concede that Earth's creatures are, as you say, pathetic. The classroom erupted in excited chatter. Several students activated recording devices. This was unprecedented. Carthax laughed, a sound like grinding boulders. You're serious? Very well, human. I accept your challenge. He extended his massive, scaled arm. Sarah carefully transferred the spider from its container. The creature, barely an inch long, looked absurdly small against the Draknor's limb. For the first few seconds, nothing happened. Carthax grinned at his fellow students, who were watching with intense curiosity. Then the spider moved. It was fast, faster than most alien species could track. In an instant it had assumed a threat posture, raising its front legs and exposing its fangs. Carthax's grin faltered slightly, but he held steady. The spider struck. Its fangs, tiny as they were, penetrated between the Draknor's scales. The warrior's eyes widened. The class leaned forward. Interesting, Sarah said, checking her chronometer. The venom should be entering your bloodstream now. Funnel web spiders don't inject measured doses, they dump everything when threatened. Carthax's arm began to twitch. I feel muscle fasciculations, Sarah narrated calmly, carefully retrieving the spider and returning it to its container. Your neural system is faster than ours, which means the venom is spreading faster too. You should be experiencing excessive salivation, lacrimation, sweating, if your species could sweat, and in about 10 seconds you'll feel your respiratory system beginning to struggle. The mighty Draknor warrior stumbled backward. His breathing became labored. His scales began to flush with a darker color, a sign of distress in his species. Students rushed to his side. Medical team to Xenobiology Hall 7. Professor Zixathar transmitted immediately. Envenomation emergency. Sarah was already pulling out a specialized injector. Fortunately, we developed anti-venoms for our own species centuries ago. This is a modified version that should work with Draknor physiology. I had it prepared before class just in case. She administered the injection, and within moments Carthax's breathing began to stabilize. The medical team arrived, quickly assessing the warrior's condition and confirming he would recover fully. The Draknor looked up at Sarah with new respect in his eyes. And something else. Fear. How? He managed to whisper. How does your species survive on a world filled with such creatures? Sarah helped him to a sitting position. Because we learned to respect them. We studied them. We developed countermeasures. On Earth, everything is trying to kill you. Spiders, snakes, jellyfish, plants, bacteria, and viruses. We don't have scales or natural armor. We're not the strongest or fastest, but we're adaptable. We're persistent, and we never ever underestimate something just because it's small. She turned to address the class. Earth might seem like a paradise to some of you. Mild temperatures, comfortable gravity. But it's a death world in its own way. We have creatures that can kill with a single sting. Plants whose toxins cause agony for months. Microorganisms that can wipe out entire populations. Humans didn't conquer our world through strength. We did it through intelligence, cooperation, and the understanding that survival means respecting every threat, no matter how tiny. The classroom remained silent as the medical team helped Carthax to his feet. The warrior bowed deeply to Sarah, a gesture of profound respect in Draknor culture. I understand now, he said quietly, why humans are so formidable in combat. You fight like prey animals that refuse to die. Sarah smiled. We prefer to think of it as, we fight like a species that learned to survive on a world where everything is armed with chemical warfare. And we're not. As the class ended and students filed out, noticeably more subdued than when they'd entered, word began to spread throughout the Galactic Academy. The human instructor, unarmed and unarmored, had brought down the Academy's greatest warrior with a creature smaller than her thumb. In the cafeteria that evening, no one laughed about Earth's creatures anymore. Instead, students from across the galaxy asked Sarah questions with genuine curiosity and a healthy dose of respect. Commander Chen, a young Krillian, asked nervously, Is it true that Earth has insects that can survive without their heads for weeks? Sarah's eyes twinkled. Would you like me to tell you about the Australian box jellyfish? Or perhaps the bullet ant? Or maybe we should discuss what happens when humans domesticated wolves, one of our planet's apex predators. The students leaned in, eager to learn Earth. They were beginning to understand, had produced a species unlike any other in the galaxy, not because humans were the strongest or fastest, but because they had survived and thrived on a world that had spent billions of years perfecting the art of creative lethality. And humans had learned from every single one of those lessons. That, more than any weapon or warship, was what made humanity truly terrifying to the galaxy. They were a species forged in venom, raised alongside creatures that could kill them in moments, and they had looked at that deadly world and called it home.